Tesfa, tell me about yourself. What's your interest in Dust?
Well, I think my interest is, like, to be honest, a very casual one. Like, it's at the end of the day, if we're getting worked up over the elections and we feel like it's very important, I mean, we want to keep playing Dust, so it is kind of important. But at the end of the day, it's still just going to be a game. So I think it's very important to have, candidates that have the game in perspective. Like, I don't think Logibro, for example, goes home at night and starts thinking, "Oh, what will I do about this tomorrow?" I think he just says, "Okay, I've done my job. This is what I do," and then at the end of the day, he goes and does other things. So yeah. So I guess my view of Dust is it's a great game. Keep it casual, and don't lose yourself in it because it can be a bit addictive. So.
Yeah, do you know, that's funny that was something that popped up in a chat I was having actually recently, which was Eve is like this big sprawling beast that has got a huge, well, relatively huge player base that got people through Eve into Dust, and they brought their kind of Eve serious business mentality into Dust with it. Now, I was talking to Judge about the same thing, because you and Judge don't come from the Eve background, which I think is to your massive benefit, because you come from shooters. You actually understand shooters probably better than most Eve players ever will, and I think that's been quite a revelation, because I like the fact that you have this kind of very casual, but there's no ego with you, and I mean that's just cutting to the point. I kind of like that, and I think one of the things that I'm really kind of worried about with the CPM is that it is going to become a little bit, quote, political, or not political. It's going to become, I think, frustrating to them when CCP don't really listen to them.
Yeah, I think, no offense to the other candidates, but I think a lot of them are going to be in for a massive shock, because from all their posts from day one, they started saying, "But if I'm elected, I'm going to do this. If I'm elected, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fix that." And first of all, like I said in my original campaign post, like, we don't know what we're going to be talking about or what we're doing, because it's all under NDA. So just to assume that you're gonna walk in and start changing things as if you're an employee there, well, no, you're already going in with the wrong mindset. You have to go in there with the open mindset by saying, "Look, I don't know what's going to happen, but whatever is in there, then I promise I'll at least do the best to not break the NDA, but keep the communication open with the community, so at least they'll have an understanding of what's going on, even if you can't talk about it deliberately or specifically." So yeah, they're going to be in for a massive shock, I think.
I totally agree with you. Again, it does feel that reading some of I did the desktop exercise of what kind of everybody, and one of the things I kind of got from it was how some people really think that they're applying for a developer's job at CCP, and with this whole process. And just to be very clear, it's, as you say, it's not. It's going to be a community representative. And I think one of the things I kind of liked about you, and obviously I've known you for a while, but is you actually do talk to people incredibly easily.
Yeah, I mean, in this sort of way, like, I guess, like, Keval, I guess, candidate who's running for, the candidate who's from Dust University, I guess they have a history of talking, well with other people, but I think Dust-wise, I picked that up more from Vala Prime. She's always been out and talking to other people, and she's always, like, maybe she's not the most famous player, but she's always around all of the alliances. She's always around to help out new players and stuff like that. And yeah, and of course squatting with you guys, where everything is open and not everything is Dust all the time. Sometimes we'll talk shit about something that's completely not Dust related, and I think if you can do that and not be super 1000% focused on the match, then it's easy to communicate. I mean, yeah.
I like that.
Just chill, dude. That's part of what the casual nature is. You got to be able to chill and relax. So if you can't do that in game, it's going to be tough to do CPM.
That's actually a very good point, because I actually would fear. In fact, this was evidenced in CPM 0, right? That the content and the tone and I guess the discussions were frustrating to a lot of people, because there was evidently a huge amount of arguments. People quit because they raged and quit. People were unhappy generally, and there was a lot of issues with communication in CPM1. That's pretty certain. So I kind of like that, you have a bit of a kind of I don't know, a not laid back, but it's a very relaxed kind of approach to this. And I think, to be honest, this is why, when you said you were running, I was kind of like, yeah, that's good, because you have a calming effect on gangs, certainly when you join them. That's just an observation I make. And I think, to be honest, CPM needs a candidate like you in there that's going to, I think, kind of keep people a little bit from raging, a little bit from kind of, because a lot of people will get very emotional very quickly. And I think what you could bring would be that kind of mindset of, look, you know, let's just stay focused. We're talking, you would basically be very objective throughout. So I think that's just for me, that's kind of one of my observations. What maybe would be other things that you'd kind of look to try and draw out?
I think beyond being just if you're talking about like relations within the CPM, I think I would like take a page book from like my current profession, which is like, you know, in the kitchen as a cook, and like the whole attitude in there is that, you know, you have lots of different people, lots of different skill sets. I mean, one guy might be the most amazing, let's say, he can cook the best steaks ever, right? But then he could walk in there and he'll have the wrong attitude and he'll disrupt the whole kitchen, and people say, well, you know what, this attitude doesn't work, you gotta go. Or you could also have people who are brand new, who don't know anything about cooking whatsoever, but then you just accept them and be like, well, as long as you have a good character and a good attitude, fine, we'll keep you. But then there's also that third set where the chef might like somebody who's a bit of an asshole, and you have to just get around that, because no matter what, even if you don't get along well together, customer's not going to wait, the restaurant's not going to wait for you guys to be all best friends. You guys have to learn how to work together, whether or not you get on well or not. I think I could try to, you know, maybe I hope I could put that kind of attitude into the CPM by like saying, okay, so what if you know everything? That doesn't mean you're going to be right about this issue. Think more objectively than that. And so what if a guy doesn't have a huge background in gaming? Like, I think Arget squatted with him the other day, and he didn't have a huge background into, you know, a lot of stuff, but then he still had a cool attitude, and me, him, Gaz, and Schley were talking a long time about, you know, scouts and dust and balance issues and things like that.
Awesome. Okay, so on to maybe the game then. So what maybe is currently going on in the game that kind of gets your goat a bit?
Well, off the top of my head, I definitely have to say matchmaking still needs to be fixed. It still needs to be reworked. Even if I try to play a couple of games with my alt that has like 2 million SP in total, still fighting like proto scouts and stack teams of, you just read the list of proto, and I'm wondering, what is my character doing in these matches, you know? I think that needs to be addressed. That strafing and ridiculous hipfire auto aim has to be addressed. But other than that, I think with the last two hotfixes, things have gotten a lot better, very quickly. Removing vehicles from ambush was a big step forward. Improving AV against vehicles was a big step forward. Now, I mean, people might bring out a tank like they used to, but they have to be super careful about it, or they'll lose it in the blink of an eye, which is what I think it should be. Fixing up the assault suits, that also needs to happen, because right now there's no purpose to running an assault suit. There's no need for it whatsoever.
I think the last thing kind of maybe to talk about is, what maybe would you be looking for CCP to improve in terms of the CPM's perception with CPM1?
A lot of the issues that the CPM1 are going to be saddled with are things that were brought over from the CPM0 themselves. Like the whole Kane Spiro, knowing that Legion was going to come and Death was going to end, and still building that giant blue donut in PC and locking players out. That had nothing to do with CCP. That was entirely on CPM0s. And I guess if they said the CPM1, like, I really hate to say that we should have input in Legion, but I think the players are considering the fact that, you know, there won't be Dust for very long. Legion will be coming soon, and what's the point of a CPM1 and Dust if Dust is going to end? So if CCP came out and said, look, it's not going to be like that, you know, depending on how it goes, maybe they'll have some sort of input on Legion. Yeah, I think a lot of the stigma attached to the CPM was caused by the CPM themselves, not by CCP. So it's hard to comment on that.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I like that. All right, closing statements. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to kind of talk about? Whatever you want it to be.
Whatever I want it to be? Ooh, unlimited power. Or with great power comes great responsibility. Should we throw that one in there? Well, as long as Dust is important to you, it's important to realize that the CPM is still going to be an important part in how Dust develops. So I would like to have a voice on that. At least go out and vote, because you don't know who's going to be chosen. It's best for you to express your own voice, and hopefully I'm the voice for you. So vote for Tesfa or CPM1.
Do a great big banner. Vote Tesfa! Flashing lights, explosions, fireworks. So there we go, that was Tesfa Alem. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I think some interesting views. I think he's going to do quite well. I do like his laid-back, casual approach. So there we go. Now, next time we're going to talk to Moselia Delt. So yeah, keep tuned in. Pose questions in the comments for Moselia, and we'll start to talk through this wonderful process that is CPM.